Jackson Radio Show.
A number of companies are attributing the tax bill for being able to give higher wages to their employees, as well as being able to give a number of bonuses to their employees. How do you respond to that?
Well, the number of bonuses that were given, well, one of the bonuses was already in a union contract, and then they added a little more money to that. That same firm just told their employees that they were going to be laying off 1,500 people, and if they wanted to save their jobs, they could all start working 32 hours in those communities. So in terms of the bonus that corporate America received versus the crumbs that they are giving to workers to kind of put the schmooze on is so pathetic. It's so pathetic. And I would hope that with their big advantage of bringing money home at a very low rate, that they would invest in infrastructure and things. But our experience has been that they will do dividends, they will do stock buybacks and things like that. I think it's insignificant.
Boy, oh boy, did Nancy Pelosi catch some HE double crooked socks for that. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's a Kevin Jackson Show. Nancy Pelosi said, hey, so what? It's $1,000. It's a pittance. It's insignificant. But, she said something even more profound earlier when she said these companies are only going to do stock buybacks. They're not going to invest and put, more infrastructure into their companies, R&D, things like that. And I don't know if you know this, but there was a lot of stock buybacks during the time of Obama. I haven't researched how many. I can't find it just yet. But there were lots of them. Because what companies do when they don't have any place to put their money, because they're not going to put it into, R&D and advancement and things like this, because they're like, why bother? The profit margins in America, what we get taxed, it doesn't do any good. So if we buy our stock back, I don't know all the details of it. Maybe there's a financial person out there, but that's a bigger advantage to them than putting it into the marketplace. And I read an article about it, or else I wouldn't even know this. But when it was a financial person saying that's what more of that happened in the time of Obama. Now I don't know what the case is. Like, is it in the last decade? Is it in the last 20 years? Or is it in the history of man? But they said many companies did this. Now, I'm going to make you a bet and tell you that not only are companies going to give their employees higher wages, money back, they're going to invest in themselves. It's already started to happen. And I named a couple of these. When I get into these battles with leftists, the ignoramuses of the planet, then I have to remind them. I say, well, Dow Chemical said they're building an innovation center somewhere in Michigan. It's going to employ 150 people. And the president and the CEO of that company said we wouldn't have done it if Donald Trump wasn't president. It wasn't going to happen. And there were a couple of other companies that said, we're going to innovate. We're bringing in the innovation center. It was a small thing that happened, but U.S. Steel opened a plant in Madison, Illinois, right across the river from St. Louis, that had been dormant. I was living in St. Louis when they shut that plant down. They fired it back up. I don't know what the plan is, but we're now making steel again in the United States. We're not shipping it from China. So another good thing that's happening. You're seeing Apple Computer, we're bringing our manufacturing back. You don't send the brains of your operation offshore. You send the stuff that you go, okay, we can do this better, cheaper, faster, and get a better tax break. They're bringing it back because it's next to the innovation. Now, the beauty of it being next to the innovation is a guy can be walking through your manufacturing facility and have a brilliant moment. They call it water cooler conversations. You're doing your job and I was an engineer, electrical engineer, and you go up to the water cooler and there's Haroon or somebody that you work with, and you're like, Haroon, we were talking about that problem in the break room the other day, and I was thinking about this, and then somebody else overhears it and goes, very flippantly, like, well, you might try blankety blank. I'll give you a good example. So I had to mail an envelope, and it had a window on it, where you could see through for the address. And it was a check to a friend of mine. It was a business acquaintance, but it was a friend who we do business with. And so he told me, Kevin, don't mail the check to my office. I need it mailed to my house because I'm going to be out of town. And I said, okay. I said, no problem. But the envelope I had already had stamps on it. So I said, well, I got to go to the post office to check my P.O. box or whatever. So I go to the post office and I tell the guy, hey, look, can you give me an envelope because I got to mail this thing out? And he goes, well, you're going to lose those stamps. And I said, yeah, but I don't have an envelope. I mean, I don't have anything I can do about it. I got to mail it to a different address. And he goes, well, why don't you put a label over it? Now, I know you're listening to me now going, Kevin, that's stupid. Some of you were already ahead of me, okay? And you're going, yeah, I was thinking, why don't you just stick a label on it? Well, first of all, because if I'd had a label on my desk, I would have thought about it. But to me, I was going to the post office. I was like 60 cents or whatever, I don't know what stuff costs, 80 cents. And I was like, to heck with it. I'll stick it in another envelope, and that'll be that. And it was a post office dude who just goes, well, man, why don't you stick a label on it? Okay. So now I become MacGyver. I go over to their I didn't have a label. So I go over to their little sticky, like first class things, and I get one of the little sticky window things, but I got to massage it. I don't have scissors or a knife. I wasn't going to borrow anything because, post office people will shoot you if you ask for the wrong thing. So I just put it onto the table, ripped it real quick, ripped off the first class, put the thing over the side of it, wrote the address in, and that was that. And so now I saved myself 84 cents on a guy's ingenuity. But that's the conversations you have that save money. Now, in my case, I saved 84 cents and maybe the cost of an envelope. So let's say I saved $2, but it's $2. Imagine those conversations happening in multiple places in your office because of proximity. That's the innovation that happens when you bring everything back. That's why you have meetings. Nobody likes meetings. You shouldn't. If you like meetings, then you're a piker. You just want to get out of work. Nobody likes them. But they're good because they spur ideas. And there is no country on the planet, none, that's better than America on ideas. The next closest, and it's a close second, is Israel. And it's because we've lived free for so long, but the Israelis, they've lived free for centuries. Even in imprisonment, they never let go of who they are. And they have a level of innovation that is second only to the innovation in the United States. That's it. So there's a saying, jealousy is a tribute mediocrity pays to genius. That's why people get jealous. They're effectively telling you, you've done something I can't do. You make me feel bad about who I am because I happen to be mediocre in this thing that I want to accomplish. If you're a mediocre actor, you're jealous when somebody else gets those awards. You don't see them as something of which to you aspire. You see them as competition and something you can never attain. Perfect example for me. I think Lady Gaga may have one of the best voices I've ever heard. You ever hear? Do you trust me on this? Google Lady Gaga singing "Lush Life." You know the jazz standard. I used to visit all the gay places. Let me tell you. Listen to that. Forget you even know who she is. Listen to it for the purity of its voice, for the orchestration, etc. If I was a singer, I would go, why bother? But you know what? Everybody isn't into Lady Gaga. There are some people that like J-Lo. I don't know who, but there are some. And so you're not for everybody. It's okay. J-Lo does not have to be jealous of Whitney Houston. Well, she's dead. Jealous of what's her face? Whitney Houston didn't get mad because Mariah Carey came along. They can coexist. For leftists, they can't. Leftists are jealous. They get jealous. Nancy Pelosi told you exactly what Nancy Pelosi said was very simply this. If the government isn't going to give you this money back, what do I care? I don't care about you. And it was summed up to me in we got a tweet. And I believe it had to do with Oprah. And I think he said it was a guy, and I like this guy's name, his thing is Educating Liberals. And his @ is @education with the number 4 libs. And he says this: Trump became a famous TV star by making people compete for a job. Oprah became famous as a star by giving away expensive gifts. This perfectly sums up the polar opposite mentalities between Republicans and Democrats. And it shows you, in a strangely metaphorical way, how we differ and why Oprah should never be president, and she won't. There's no worries about it. Nor should any leftist. They don't understand that when you work for something, it means something to you. Or at least it should. The problem with leftism is it doesn't mean anything to them. It doesn't. They are programmed to look for the easy way out, and you're it. And if you get in between them and their meal, woe be it unto you.
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.